What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Keepa's product finder tool to find profitable books to buy on Amazon and resell on Amazon FBA. All right, the way that you can find this tool is by typing in the name of any book and going down to the Keepa Graph. You'll see that there's this product finder button right above the graph. That's going to take you to this page here. And this is going to allow you to access Keepa's API to input certain parameters for books that you want to return results for. And I'll get right into it just to show you how it works. And by the way, this isn't the only way you could use it. There are a number of different strategies and things that I use, but I'm just going to show you this one strategy just in the interest of time. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is go ahead and put a sales rank in, right? Because I want to see books that are selling. I'm going to start with books between a rank of 1 and 2 million. Those are basically going to be books that are selling pretty consistently. Now, on Amazon, I want the new price to be at least $125, and I want the third-party new price to be at least $95. And for the used price, I want there to be an average, 180 the average, where the book price is between $40 and $60. Again, these are kind of just arbitrary numbers that you could change on your own. But I want the 90-day drop percentage to be at least 33%. In other words, if this book's price on average is between $40 and $60, I want to look at or return results for books that have seen in a 90-day period a 33% drop in that price. Okay, then what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm looking at the book category. So I'm going to scroll down to the categories, click books, and you can see that this has returned a total of 99 products, which I can just press find products for. Now, what I'm interested in is that percentage drop. So I'm going to go to that 90-day percentage drop, and I'm going to sort it based upon the highest percentage drop to the lowest percentage drop. And I've already combed through some of these results just to see, the most interesting books to look at that you might think about purchasing. So the first one I'm going to look at is this Contracts, a real-world case book. And I'm actually just going to look at this on Amazon, even though you could actually look at it in Keepa. Okay, so first thing to note is that this book was selling for a lot of money in January and December. So that'd be the last textbook season. And recently its price has just plummeted. And so one of the reasons why price normally plummets is because the number of used offers goes up. And you can see that that's true. At this point in time, there's never been more used offers available. And probably the reason for that is that there's a newer edition. But if you inspect the newer edition, you can see that its price is actually still really high, which means that there still could be possibility or potential for that other book, the older edition, because a student has a choice. Am I going to buy this book for $196, or am I going to buy it for $100 cheaper? So let's go back to that just to take a look at it, and let's just look at the number of used offers to see is there a potential for us to buy this. So you'll see that the lowest you can buy this for is $11.44. And it creeps up, and you can actually look at the stock quantity as well. That's actually going to be really important. And you can see that, there really aren't that many copies until you start getting to a higher dollar value, 25, 29, 43, 59. Now, just because we see that this book was selling for over $100 doesn't mean that we need to sell it for $100 to make profit, especially if we're buying it at $11. Like, we can make profit if we sell for $50. So it's just a thought. It's an idea. Do you think that that's a book that you can buy and reflip on Amazon? Maybe that's something that you could look at. Okay, let's go and take a look at another book. Let's look at this Testosterone, Action, and Deficiency. So again, I'm going to open this up in the Amazon webpage. By the way, you could also open it up in eBay if you want to, because it also tells you what the eBay price is there. Okay, so let's look at this Keepa Graph. It hasn't sold a ton. It's sold a handful of times, so it sold for over $100 a couple of times there, $63, $63, $60, $60 there. And then recently you saw this big price drop. So the question is, why did you see that price drop? Well, if we take a look at the used offer counts, you can see that right now there's two people competing for the buy box. There's one acceptable for 15 and then another like new. But again, stock quantity matters a lot. They have 23 in stock, which means this book isn't really selling enough probably for you to want to buy one of those copies. But maybe something to think about is, because these two are in a repricing war, maybe if you bought this copy, the acceptable copy, then maybe this like new offer count jumps back up to $74, because that's how repricers work. So maybe that's a book that you want to buy. Personally, I probably want to buy that one just because there's a lot of used offers there. Okay, let's go to page 2 here to see some other books that are of interest to us. Okay, let's look at this Power and Authority book. So again, I'm going to open that up in Amazon. So right now the buy box used price is $14.24, but if you look at the Keepa Graph, right, it sold twice this year for over $100. If we look further in time, you can see that it sold another 3 times for well over $100. And then there have been these time periods where the price has gone down to $15, and you can see 2 people have bought it there. Now, no one's tracking this product though, so it's probably unlikely that the person who bought that would be a reseller. But let's take a look at what's happening. So you have 2 used offers right now for about $18.99, right? They're competing against each other. There's, a repricing war there. And if you were to buy those 2 copies, then the next copy jumps up to $141, which would be what these people may have, which would be basically right back at what these people had purchased the book for. So the question is this a book that is going to sell, right? Because it historically hasn't sold much. Well, one indicator is there a new edition out? And right now there isn't a new edition, and this is also the first edition. So if we look at how long it's been out, which is 602 days, really in the lifetime of books and textbooks, that's not that long. So it could be that this is a book that maybe is going to gain more popularity in the future, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a book that was made that really isn't very popular and no one really needs it. But a strategy, or maybe something you could do, is you could buy both of those books for, $18.99, and you don't even need to sell both of them to make money, right? You could just sell one at that maybe $115 mark and you would make money. And then maybe you can sell the other one in the future. So it's something that you could look at. Let's go and look at another book that I found here. Let's look at Civil Liberties here. Let's open that up in Amazon. All right, used by box right now is $59. Let's take a look at the Keepa Graph though. You can see that this is sold, a handful of times for $67, sold sometimes in here for $50. But recently you can see there's a repricing war, and the price of this book is now at $20 and maybe will continue to go down. So let's take a look at the used offers. Again, you have, let's see, 23, 20, 30, 34, then we go up to 59. So we have 3 people that are in a repricing war here. They're all acceptable copies. I tend to not want to buy acceptable copies unless you have someone who has a really high feedback, like 98, 99, 100%, because generally they'll under promise the condition of the book. But this is an opportunity for maybe us to set a tracker, because if you bought this book at $20, considering that it's sold a number of times for $60, you're buying it undervalued, right? So this would be an option where maybe you want to track the product and say, okay, you have those 3 copies that are in this repricing war. If they get to maybe $13, maybe that's when you decide to pull the trigger. I can track that there and it can send me a notification. Okay. Some of you might even just buy a copy now as well. Okay, let's continue to go on. Let's look at conservation in medicine, and let's look at that in Amazon's webpage. So the buy box right now is $34.49. Right now you can buy the copy for as low as $7.44. If you look at the past year though, you can see this book has sold for over $50 a handful of times. Now the price has been lower as well, so there is precedent for the price being low. And if we look later back into its history, you can see that also its price has been low to that point before. So that's happened before, but it's also seen recovery and sold for more money. If you looked at the number of used offer counts, you can see that right now we're starting to creep back up, but historically we're still pretty low in terms of the number of used offers that we have. So the question is, could we buy a copy or 2 to make money? Well, you see that there are actually 5 or 6 copies that are competing for that low price. And let's go and take a look at what the prime's at. Right now, there's only 2 prime offers, one at $34 and one at $199. So again, the question is not necessarily, do I need to sell it at $60 to make profit? It's, if I were to buy this copy for, let's say, $7.44, can I sell it for $34, right? Because you would still be able to make a little bit of money there. I would argue that you could probably price it more. Like you could probably, price it up to that $50 or $60 mark. Now I wouldn't probably buy too many of them because, it doesn't sell all all the time. It sells maybe 10, 15 times throughout the year. But maybe for $7.44, I would buy one or two of those copies and I would, send it in. Let's take a look at another copy. Okay, let's look at an introduction to database systems. All right, right now the buy box is $61.96. You can buy for as low as $23. So if we take a look at the history of this book in the last year, I would say pretty, its value looks to be around $60 to $70, right? That's what its true value seems to be. And currently right now, there's probably some repricing more and the price is going down. Now, something that's interesting here is that you see that the number of used offers is actually going down, but the price is also going down, which is a little counterintuitive. You normally would think that if the number of used offers is going down, that the price would be going up. So this is kind of like the win-win situation for you where you're going to be able to buy a book, significantly undervalued for about a third of its true value, or maybe less than a third of its true value. Sorry, maybe more than a third of its true value. So you can see that there's one good copy from Goodwill. We love Goodwill. Another used copy there. And then it shoots right back up to 57. So maybe you buy two of those books and you send it right back in there into Amazon. And, there's the possibility too that you can sell for more than 60 depending on what the prime offers are right now. So it looks like right now it's pretty consistent around that $60. So maybe actually buying these at 27 might not leave enough margin for you, but like there are those 4 copies there that are in a repricing where maybe you set a tracker and say, okay, maybe I need to be at the purchase price of $15 for this to make sense to me. All right, let's continue. Let's look at a couple other books and then we'll close out the video. All right, let's look for, let's go to the next page actually. All right, let's scroll down. Let's find Neurology of Addiction. All right, I'm going to open this up in Amazon. Actually, let's just have this be the last book that we look at because I think you get the idea of how that, how this works. Okay, so you look at the Keepa chart. You go, wow, this book is sold for $90 multiple times, sold for $74, $65, repricing more there, more repricing more here. All of a sudden, you can buy this book for $13, which is significantly undervalued from what it was, in the past. Now, there is precedent for the price of this book being lower, but also notice that the number of used offers was significantly higher at that time. And right now, in the grand scheme of things, we're still at still pretty low in the number of used offers. So let's take a look and see what we can do with the used offers here. We have 1741, 1342, and 1343, and then you jump right up to 67 and 84 and 94. So these 3 people are in a repricing war. Unfortunately, none of these copies are in good condition. However, Franklin Media has pretty good reviews, 97%. Goodwill of Colorado has pretty good reviews, 98%. So it is possible that even though these are marked acceptable, that they're really not that bad. And you might still list them as acceptable, but they're at least acceptable, right? Some people list books that are acceptable and it's like the spine's coming out, like the book's all ripped up. So you want to be careful on when you buy the acceptable books. Normally I just try to buy the good books, but I would say this is a great opportunity considering that the used offer count's slow. There isn't another newer edition out, and that there is history of this selling for over $90 that, hey, maybe buying a couple of these books might be worth it, right? And, I'll leave those there for you if you want to go purchase them. But that's just one way or another way. This is kind of like an intermediate way to use Keepa, use their product finder feature to find books to sell on Amazon. And if you can buy a couple of books a day, 2, 3, 4, 5 books a day, then you can start running a profitable business where you're getting, scaling up to revenue of, 50,000 a year, 75,000 a year, 100,000 plus a year. It's just another way to source books. So if you like the content, leave a thumbs up. If you want to listen and hear more, hit the subscribe button. Have any comments, put them down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.